with Nanny Bubby. I'm Nanny Bubby. This is my home kitchen and I want to welcome all of you today. So today, it's been just kind of a lovely, gloomy little day, kind of one of those days where you want to grab a book. For me, it's always a cookbook, cuddle up next to the fireplace and read. And I love these days because in Las Vegas we have about 362 days of, hey Susie, good afternoon, about 362 days of bright sunshine. Even in December, it's bright and clear skies, blue skies and sunshine. So when it gets a little gloomy or a little rainy, it only lasts for a day and a half. So I'm really always joyful when we get a little gloomy, sensitive weather that doesn't feel like Las Vegas. So hey to Megan, Megan Banner, bye-bye Maria, Demote Santos. That's a big mouthful. Megan, tell me if I said it right. Hello to Frank, hello to Judy. So happy to have all of you here. So today, in honor of a Lunar New Year, I am going to be making ginger miso tuna. So look at these beautiful tuna steaks that I got today at the grocery. And we're going to start out by taking some coconut aminos, which you know that I use in place of soy sauce. And I've got just a little bit left over in this big jar, so uh-oh, there goes Biggie, sorry about that. And I'm going to just brush this on top. And this is going to be used in order to make the seasoning that I'm going to be putting on it stick. So let me tell you, normally, hey Marcy, nice to see you. Normally, I put Monterey steak seasoning that I get at Costco as the seasoning, believe it or not, on top of these tuna steaks. And the fact is that I haven't been to Costco in quite a while, and I ran out of the Monterey steak seasoning this Christmas during December, and so I don't have any. So yesterday I was at Whole Foods and I looked for their Monterey steak seasoning there, and they didn't have any, but they just had this classic steak seasoning. What I like about the Monterey seasoning, Monterey steak seasoning, is that it actually has sesame seeds in it. So that would translate both for either steak or actually for fish. So this does not have any sesame seeds in it at all. Let me tell you, it's got sea salt, organic cracked black pepper, or organic dehydrated garlic, onion, coriander, and coriander is very Middle Eastern or Far Eastern, organic dill, organic, let's see, coriander, but I thought I just said that. Maybe organic coriander of a different kind, I don't know, but because it's on there twice. And what I'm doing is I took this, and I'm hoping you can see this. I have a new tripod, and I'm not sure if I'm keeping it, but tell me if the view is good here. And I'm just going to sprinkle this right on to the top of these steaks. I'm going to do a little heavy because I'm going to want to do a crust of this. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take a jar of sesame seeds, opening it up, and I'm going to take that and I'm just going to sprinkle the sesame seeds right on top of the steak seasoning and give it, you know, that Asian flavor with the sesame, and voila, that's French for presto. All is good. So that is how I converted my steak seasoning with a little bit of sesame seed. Hey Susan Mendorf, hey Lisa Down, nice to see you. Hey, thank you everybody for being here today. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip them over and do the same thing. Here we go. And starting again with the coconut aminos, there we go. We just finished off this bottle, all gone. And we'll put the other bottle right here. I feel like there should be music in the background. It's very quiet in this house right now. Even Biggie isn't barking. There we go. And again, I always put this on first because what this does is it gives us the opportunity for the seasoning to stick really well to the, clean up after yourself, they always say. So now, again, with the classic steak seasoning, if you go to Costco and you can find the Monterey steak seasoning at Costco, then you don't have to add the sesame seeds, because sesame seeds, believe it or not, are already in that. And it's lovely. You could add a little bit extra if you wish, but I'm just gonna take, because I haven't been to Costco in a while and I'm all out since the holidays. And I kind of like this as well because it's a smaller jar. That big thing of Monterey steak seasoning might have been in my cupboard for the last 30 years. And I was very happy to throw it away when it had only a third left in the jar. I'm like, this has been in my pantry for way too long, in my spice rack. Okay, so there we go with the steak seasoning. Now I used this last night, and it's already, look how much I've used already. And honestly, I'm happy with that because I don't like things like this hanging out in the cupboard for too long. So again, back to the sesame seed. Let's go here. And just sprinkling that sesame seed. Here we go. And there's a jar that's gonna go down the tubes too. So I'm very happy to be going through all of these things because I'm getting ready to clean out my spice cabinet and put everything in brand new jars, and I think I might do a show on just that. So anyway, we're gonna take this, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator to keep it cold until I actually cook it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the ginger miso sauce that I'm gonna put on top. And there was a secret to how I came up with this recipe, so stand by. Let me get this in the refrigerator. There we go. And we'll let that stay nice and cold until it's time to grill it. So I was having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine who said that she absolutely loved my ginger miso sheet pan chicken. But what she did is she's not too crazy about using a sheet pan. And so what she did is she translated that recipe to a whole chicken. And she said she just loves it on whole chicken. And I thought to myself, that is a really, really, really good idea. And so last night I did a spatchcock chicken for Tom and Russell and me and my son-in-law Connor. And then Harmony does not eat meat, she eats fish. So I did the tuna that I had, because I bought the tuna yesterday for today. And I grabbed the tuna and I did this recipe for Harmony, and Harmony thought it was amazing. So let me tell you, if you go back to the sheet pan chicken, you can go and gather with Nanny Bubby and pull up that sheet pan chicken with bok choy and scallions, miso and ginger. And if you can find that recipe there, and I will post it right here. But it starts with granulated garlic or minced garlic. And I just got this delivery of the raw garlic olive oil. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of this fabulous raw garlic olive oil, and I think that that is just about enough garlic in this. And then the rest of the time I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit more of regular olive oil, mixing it up. Don't you love this? Can you see that, how I'm filling this up? Here we go, and then I'm just going to pour that in. That is, I think, 3 tablespoons? 1 tablespoon. So, okay, you can smell the garlic in it. It's really fantastic. Then we're going to take a little bit of salt, about a teaspoon of salt, and some ground pepper. Here we go. Get ready to grind my own pepper here. Well, it's going to be Super Bowl week, and we are going to have to start planning that Super Bowl menu very quickly. You can get the large bottle of Montreal steak seasoning on Amazon or in grocery stores. Okay, thank you, Judy. See, this is why I love the group. I love that. Hey, Laura Brown, nice to see you. Okay, so there's the oil, salt, and pepper. Now we're going to take about a tablespoon of miso. And let me grab a spoon real quickly. Okay, so this is the white, mellow white miso. And I did that right in there. And I'll tell you, if you don't cook with miso and you don't cook with ginger, when you do this dish, everybody in your household just oohs and ahs. Oh, miso, that's very funny, Frank. Excuse me. Because the flavors of miso and ginger are not common in your household, and so they're used to everything tasting the same. Like in my house, sorry, let me get a drink here. I choked there. I think it's also the garlic. Thank you. I can really smell it. So we're gonna just whisk up this miso. Just continue to, wow, that garlic is really strong, which is kind of great. All right, let's get into the ginger. So I peeled some ginger right here. And so what I was saying is that when you don't cook with these flavors very often, your family finds them to be so unusual and different. Like when my kids were growing up, everything was garlic salt. And I thought that was the only seasoning, garlic salt and onion powder. I had no idea there were any other seasonings when I used to cook for the kids. And so everything I made, from chicken to steak, everything was salt, pepper, garlic powder, and garlic salt. So, or lemon garlic pepper, maybe there was that one too, right? But when you cook with something that you don't normally cook with, like ginger, miso, garlic, and your family takes a bite, they're like, oh my God, that is so good, because it's something that they're not used to eating, at least from your kitchen, right? And it's the unexpected flavor that keeps them coming back, which is what I love to do. Okay, here we go. So, you know, you want to grind it down as far as you can, but you don't want to take your skin off your fingers as you go. And I really like a lot of ginger in this recipe, so it's about a tablespoon of ginger, as much as I can. So the really great thing about this microblade is that it all goes right at the back. Can you see that? Yeah. And so I just take my finger and go right along the back side and brush that off into here. So Judy says she loves miso and ginger. So this is very different because I tend to always like throw an Italian spin on just about everything that I do. But you know, that show that I did with Chef Katie Chin really taught me a lot, and I really loved, I mean, how many of you absolutely loved that show and everything that we learned, and the story about her mom? Wasn't that amazing? Honestly, it was just so heartwarming to hear her mom's story, and to hear that Sean Connery, I mean, first of all, who knew Sean Connery would ever go to Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? And who could ever have imagined that he would fall in love with, I can't remember what her name was, something Chin. I can't remember what her name was, Katie's mom. But anyway, look at all that ginger that got in there. Isn't that great? Okay, somebody, Lisa, I think you know that you remember her mom's name. Something Chin. Yeah, love the show. So Judy, what is it that you love miso? When you cook, what do you put miso on? Just like fill us in on that. And somebody type her mom's name. It was Alyssa or something. Can't remember what it was. Anybody remember? Okay, I think that's good. Sea bass with miso. Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds really good, Judy. That sounds fantastic. Okay. So I'm almost done with the ginger. This is really quite the show. So I just wanted to tell you I will not be here on Thursday because Thursday is a Channel 8 day. And I'm going to be making the longevity or long life noodles on Channel 8. Because I was so inspired by Katie's recipe, and it was so easy to do. I love that Frank taught us all about velveting, or at least he called out the name of it, which I really appreciated it. Apparently she knew that name. And Frank, I tell you, I cannot believe. So now I'm just whisking the ginger into the miso. Okay, there we go. It's breaking down now and emulsifying together. And now we're going to use some, the longer the noodle, the longer the life. Correct, that is right. But Frank, I'm really sorry about you and COVID. I mean, you're a chef and you're just published a book. Congratulations. Or as they say in my culture, mazel tov. And okay, so the Dijon mustard brings it together, but I can tell you this needs a lot more regular olive oil, so stand by here. Because I'm going to paint this with the pastry brush right onto the top of the fish. There we go. Right after it's done grilling. And then I will let it grill just slightly for 30 seconds on each side with this on it, and it will be great. Now, in order just to cut a little bit on the acid, I'm just gonna tap in. It calls for brown sugar, but I prefer the stevia, and that particular stevia, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but this stevia is very potent and very good and very organic. So I'm using this instead. And there we go. So I'll let you take a look inside. And I'm just gonna stick that into the refrigerator now. And tonight, just so you know, I'm gonna grill, because tuna you can serve rare, and we do like it rare. So I'm going to put just a little bit of butter into a nonstick pan, and I am going to grill the fish for about, a minute per side. Then I'm going to put the miso sauce, miso ginger sauce. I'm gonna paint that on, and then I'm gonna do it for another minute per side, and then they will be perfect. So there you go. That's how I do it. I can't do it now because we're eating rather late. And by the way, I forgot to do one thing. So that's this, but I'm also mincing up these shallots and putting them right into the miso ginger. So I'm gonna chop these very thin, as you can see. That's why I put the Melissa's plastic over my cutting board, because I don't want shallots with all their onion flavor and garlic to get into my board. As you know, I'm very finicky about that. And so, Frank, I went into Barnes & Noble yesterday. I took my granddaughter to the bookshop, and we were buying some books for her. And I asked about your book in Barnes & Noble, and I was going to order it there, but I also had looked it up on Amazon, and it's easier for me to buy it on Amazon. So Frank, I don't know if I'm going to be your first, but I am going to order your book, and when it arrives, I'll show it to everybody. And then, Frank, maybe you would like to come on the show and talk about your book and talk about how you finally got it to print, meaning how you finally got your publisher and got your printing, and how exciting this may be for you. I mean, I think everyone maybe here today has heard the story. That's very sweet that you want to give me one, Frank, but I really want to buy one of your very first copies. I want to give you your first dollar. If I'm not the first, don't tell me. Pretend like I am. And if you want to give one away to one of our listeners that come on the day that you and I do our interview, then that would be really generous of you, because you know everybody that comes on the show gives away something. So if you're willing to do that, that would be great. So I'm not going to use the second shallot because there's an awful lot. I think you can see that, can't you? About literally how much is in here. And I'm just going to take that and put that right into the sauce. There we go. And let me just whisk that up. And you know, the acid in the shallots, this just really makes it nice and thick like a paste. And this is just gonna make that tuna absolutely delish. Hey, Mark Goldberg, nice to have you here. Thank you, Susan. YVW, I don't know what that means. I'll give you one, thank you. And yes, okay, all right, great. Okay, so moving on, the next thing I'm going to do is we are having roasted asparagus with this dress. I always think about clothes, just so you know. So why that just popped out of my mouth, I have no idea. But we are having asparagus with our fish, not with our dress, unless I put a dress on today. And then maybe that would be it. Okay, so it's funny. You know, when you're live, sometimes what happens, it just always cracks me up. Okay, so how many of you know, actually, how to cut and prepare asparagus? So who knows the technique for asparagus, for cutting it up and getting rid of the stalk? So who knows the hack for that? Anybody? Okay, ready? You take your asparagus and you bend, and wherever it breaks, that is what you don't want to eat. That's how you do asparagus. So as an example, this one broke much farther down, as you can see. And how about this one? See, look how small that is. So the asparagus knows what is edible and what is not. There you go, that one was quite bigger. How many of you use this technique when preparing your bend till it breaks? Yes, Susan. Susan Mendorf was very engaged in the conversation with Katie. Thank you so much for that. Okay. There we go. So it takes a little bit of time. You know, if you've got music on in the background, you can listen to music and just snap your asparagus. And I will cover this and put it in the refrigerator. And just before this will only take about 12 to 15 minutes to roast in about a 450 degree oven. I take it out. One of the greatest flavors you can ever have with asparagus is a little bit of olive oil and French sea salt on the top. So I will drizzle it with one of my flavored olive oils, and then I will squeeze it with a lemon. Salt, fat, acid, heat. And when it comes to asparagus, the acid, the fat, and the salt makes everything fantastic. So I remembered eating the asparagus and thinking to myself, what is it missing? And this was right after I read the book, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. And I thought, I don't know, maybe I can taste everything but the acid. So I just squeezed lemon juice on it, and when I sat down at the table, everybody was oohing and awing and oohing and awing, and I loved it. I just loved it. So salt, the rock sea salt, also I'll put a little salt and pepper on it before I roast it. Fat is the olive oil. Maybe even you could melt a little bit of butter. Acid is the lemon juice, and the heat, we can leave it out. I think if you choose 3 of the 4, I think you're in good shape. So yes, this will be missing heat, but it's going to have salt, fat, and acid, and that's enough to complete a dish. So I love those combinations. There we go. So this is one of my Nanny Bubby tidbits. How to actually trim asparagus. And if you go, even if you take it from tip to tip and just bend, it will, I just gotta get it better, just right at the bottom of where the flour is. You take it and bend it, there you go. Almost done. This one's already been done. And last one. Okay, so I'm going to cover this with parchment paper and a little bit of foil, and stick this into my refrigerator. I don't want to put the oil on it, so there's a lot of things you can do on a make-ahead situation. But one of the things that you can't do is salt, pepper, and toss it in olive oil. Hey Heather, nice to see you. And put it back in the refrigerator and then cook it an hour from now, because the salt will wilt the asparagus. The oil doesn't react well with the salt in the refrigerator. It always does better, of course, it's perfect for the oven. So I'm going to cover this, put this in the refrigerator. I'm going to cover the tuna as you saw, and then here is the asparagus. So then I'll take it out, and you know, dinner will be ready in about 15 to 20 minutes, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to be making something, I just don't know what. I was thinking about going through the spice cabinet. I'm thinking that tomorrow I'm going to pull out my spice cabinet and I'm going to say, yep, I'm keeping this. No, this has been in my spice cabinet forever. And I think honestly, I may literally go through cleaning out that spice cabinet. So tune in tomorrow just to see what Nanny Bubby keeps and what Nanny Bubby throws away. On Wednesday, I am starting a new series called Nanny Bubby Tidbits, and I'm going to have a videographer here on Wednesday morning. And so we'll see if there's something left over that I can do for you. I don't know. I'll make the decision when we get to it. And then Thursday I won't be here because it is Channel 8 day, so I'll probably get in the car and talk to you while I'm driving. Don't tell LVMPD. I have a tripod in my car. And then, and that's it. Then I'll know on Friday. I'll just make a decision what I'm doing, because most of this is real life for me. It's what I'm really doing for my family and friends and everything else. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much. Yes, you can put the asparagus into water and boil it, but it gets very waterlogged. So the best thing to do is either roast it or steam it, Susie. And this is great for steaming. These actually turn out really good when you steam them. And you know, since this is kind of, I don't know, an Asian dish, I feel like steamed asparagus might be even better than toss it in olive oil and a little bit of French sea salt and we're off to the races. So I don't know, I'll make a decision about that. Sometimes it's easier not to steam them or boil them, because when I've already put them on a sheet pan, I don't want to dirty another pot. So I may not want to steam them, right? I might just really want, but you know, I roast them all the time. Okay, so I'm talking to myself here. Hey, Brenda Mills. But you know, honestly, I roast my asparagus all the time, and it might be refreshing if we had steamed asparagus tonight, right? Think about it, right? Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Thanks for that, Susie. I'm going to steam it. That'll be perfect. Okay, Brenda Mills, you came at the end. It's so nice to see you. So nice to see all of you. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Go out and spread love like butter. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.